Hello, I'm Bob Guerra.
And I'm Brittany Hodak.
Welcome to This Week in Country Music, a podcast where we cover everything happening right now in country music.
We're going to talk about this week's top stories, give you an inside scoop on what's coming in the weeks ahead, and break down 6 songs that you need to hear.
And I'm going to sit down with one of country music's new stars, Jimmie Allen, and maybe the hottest new single in America, Best Shot. Also, we're going to replay part of an interview that I did back in 2011 with the legendary Ricky Skaggs.
Ricky was just inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, right?
Yes, indeed he was, along with Dottie West and Jimmy Gimbel. More on that in just a little bit, but first, let's get into this week's 6 picks. First up, it's the new one from Dan and Shay, Speechless, another power ballad. This one is the fastest rising single of their young career.
I'm speechless, staring at you standing there in that dress. What it's doing to me ain't a secret, 'cause watching you is all that I can do. And I'm speechless. You already know that you're my weakness. After all this time I'm just as nervous every time you walk into the room. I'm speechless.
You know, a lot of Dan and Shay fans were really happy last week because the band made the surprise announcement that they're going on a spring tour.
Yeah, I think it's called Dan and Shay, The Tour.
Right? Pretty simple. I like that. Easy to remember. They're going to be hitting the road in February, and they're taking along their label mate Morgan Evans for the first half of the track. He's the next up on our list of songs you need to hear. It's his new one, Day Drunk.
Let's get a little day drunk, party without shades on, play a bunch of old songs, sing along, get the words wrong. When you're day drunk, get down while the sun's up, make a little good look like it's date night in the daylight, and it feels right when you're day drunk, day drunk.
Hats off to Morgan. Had a fantastic debut last week with his new album, Things That We Drink To. And speaking of drinking, and there is a lot of songs out there with the titles and drinking in there. Well, this next artist is as bubbly as they come.
You know, Lindsay Ell has been on a roll in 2018. I'm so glad she's finally starting to see some big-time success because she's been grinding it out for years. Our buddy Kurt Bardella caught up with her on the road a few weeks back.
As your career's progressed and you've taken, I think, some amazing steps in this first year, it's like you get some things that hopefully make it a little bit easier on you. You just got your first bus, which I haven't even seen yet.
I know, and I wish we had it here for the month of October. We're playing so many fly dates, which if people don't know what fly dates are, it's basically that the routing is so far in between shows that it doesn't make sense to drive there or take a bus there. So we're basically zigzagging across the country in a plane for the month of October. But you will see the bus. I assure you, this will happen. And it was a moment, you know. We've been doing a few shows with Keith Urban, and the first show that bus pulled up, and I walked on that thing because I've crashed in some bunks, and when people have been generous enough to let us, you know, ride from city to city or something here to there, but the fact that it was the first bus that I paid for myself, and I walked on that thing, and I was like, all right, I have saved enough money in my bank account. I've been working enough. I've been playing enough shows that I was able to afford this bus for my band. You know, to try to provide to them like the nicest environment that I can provide them for them at any point in the game. It was a moment where I was proud, and I'm not proud of a lot of things.
And now here's a song that sounds good on a tour bus or a car or anywhere else you're listening to it. Lindsay's latest, Champagne.
Another drinking song.
You make me feel like Jessica Biel, stepping out of a stretch, diamonds hugging my neck for the paparazzi. Got me like I'm dropping the mic, so naturally, David, just call me Aretha for real. You make me feel like I'm the champagne. I'm the champagne.
Next up, the duo that simply won't be stopped. Florida Georgia Line's new song is on the radio, but it's already been streamed more than 26 million times. Those are such scary numbers. Speaking of scary, this is a cool story. Florida Georgia Line's Tyler Hubbard is set to celebrate his first Halloween as a daddy this year, even though his little girl Olivia is only 10 months old.
I was taking a nap on the couch last week, and Haley thought it'd be funny for me to wake up with her Halloween costume laying on top of me, covering me up. And I don't really remember exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of like a leopard suit or a cheetah or some kind of little animal suit. So that's about as much as I can give you. I know she's going to be some cute little animal for Halloween.
Oh, how fun. Well, I can't wait to see Olivia's costume. Here's the latest from Daddy Tyler and his buddy BK. It's Florida Georgia Line with Talk You Out of It.
I talked you into slipping down the hall, baby, turning on your playlist you play when you're in the shower. Talked you into taking up our time, making up your mind, switching back and forth for an hour. Now you're looking like a line from a Van Draw song. I'm looking at that fine little dress you got on. Don't get me wrong, girl, I love it. Now I just wanna talk you out of it.
So in Nashville, the mark of a great song is when other songwriters hear it, they tell you how much they wish they'd written it.
Absolutely.
And, I don't know a writer anywhere who wouldn't like to have his name on this amazing ode to a fake ID by Travis Denning.
Travis is such a talented young man. I think we're going to talk to him on a future episode, right?
Right. We're going to hear all about his new song, Red, White, and Blue. But this week, it's all about David Ashley Parker from Powder Springs.
I wonder if that is the longest title in the history of country music.
It's funny. The first several times I caught part of it on the radio, I'm like, what is this long? I couldn't figure it out. And then I heard it start to finish however many weeks back, and I was like, what a great song this is.
David Ashley Parker from Powder Springs, November 27, turning 23. 5'9", brown hair, blue eyes, Levi's t-shirt, all American guy. Made all the right moves, said all the right things. Showed up with the smokes and I bought all the drinks. Wasn't who I was, but every now and then I got to be David Ashley Parker from Powder Springs.
Mentioned earlier, I was going to spend some time on this week's podcast talking to Jimmie Allen. Lots of folks think he's an overnight success, but young man's been at it for 10 years here in Nashville, waiting for the stars to align, and they finally did based on his hit single, Best Shot.
The album Mercury Lane came out and got rave reviews from critics and fans alike. This next song, a real standout, made our 6. It's called Back of Your Mind.
My phone still rings with your name on it. You got a picture with him wearing the shirt that I bought you. You know, never do it like I do. That's why you send me text after 2 in the morning. Everybody knows that he's holding you tonight, but you hold me in the back of your mind.
Remember, you can hear these songs in their entirety on our 6 Picks playlist. Just search This Week in Country Music on your favorite streaming destinations or visit thisweekincountrymusic.com for a quick link. Now, I know we've been promising that fans are going to get to listen into that interview that you did with Jimmie Allen. I think this is a good time to play it, Bob. What do you think?
Let's do it. So here we have a young African-American from Delaware.
Yeah, man.
On an independent record label. Starting out with a ballad on as his debut record song. Now, who would have thunk that, huh?
Nobody. Me and the label thought it. We were all crazy enough to believe that it would happen, and here we are. It is happening, man, and we couldn't be more excited, more thankful for every station that's given the song a spin, for every listener that's loved it and called in and requested it. It just means so much.
Well, it really does show the power of the song. Mm-hmm. And, of course, your vocal is just outstanding.
Oh,
but
thank you.
For me, though, it always begins with the song. If it's a great song, it'll break through everything. Mm-hmm. And then the vocals, of course. Where did you learn to sing, Jimmie? I mean, did you have formal training, or did you always sing?
I grew up in church. I was a drummer first. And then I started playing the piano, and then I got into singing, and I was a huge, Matchbox 20 fan, and Sawyer Brown, Little Texas, and Ricochet, and Aaron Tippin, and Michael Jackson, Prince, and, the Newsboys, Gaither Vocal Band, all those guys. And I feel like I pulled something from all of them. And I would just listen to different styles of music and just would sing day in and day out. And one day, I didn't suck anymore. People didn't mind hearing me sing, but it's been awesome. I'm enjoying it.
Now, your debut album we mentioned is Mercury Lane. There's 15 tracks on this baby. This is a big album. How many of them did you write?
I think I wrote like 8 or 9 out of the 15.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's the oldest song of the group?
The oldest song actually is Best Shot.
Really?
Best Shots. Nope. Wait, I take that back. The oldest song is Back Your Mind.
When did you create that?
I wrote Back Your Mind before I even got a pub deal. I think I wrote Back Your Mind like into 2015, early 2016.
So you said, man, if I ever get a deal, this one's going on.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So I wrote Back Your Mind because Back Your Mind is a song I played at a writer's round that got me my publishing deal.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And that's the first oldest. I think Best Shot is the second oldest.
Now, you've been asked this question, I'm sure, a million times about Mercury Lane. You grew up in Delaware. Now, was this street named after, the car or a person or a god or what?
I have no clue. I just know it was a street I grew up on in Delaware. I don't even know what they named it. But my whole development has different names like that. You figure Venus is right next to us. The street behind me was Gemini Street.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of that whole theme.
I got you.
Yeah, we got a few aliens that live over there. So.
What was life like, growing up in South Delaware for you as a young man?
For me, life in South Delaware was great. We were surrounded by trees, so we had the life to go hunting, ride 4-wheelers, make bike ramps, all that stuff. But then also we were like 20 minutes from the beach, so we'd ride our 4-wheelers on the sand dunes, go fishing, skimboard, just enjoy the beach life. So it was kind of the best of both worlds. We could wear a camo and we could wear American Eagle, so it was awesome.
So you were close to the water then?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Did it have the music have a sound? Like if you go down to the Carolinas, they have their own beach sound over there, but was there music that was synonymous with South Delaware?
No, not at all.
No?
We just listen to country music and rock and roll down there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What was the first country song you ever listened to that you said, yep?
Ain't Nothing Wrong with the Radio by Aaron Tippin.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's my dad's favorite country artist.
He's got that serious, heavy draw on his voice, too.
Yeah, man. So, my mom listened to nothing but Christian. I know my dad listened to was country music, so he kind of introduced me to it, and I just fell in love with the stories. Yeah, man.
Let's dig into the album a little bit. Tell me about a track on the album that's there simply because you wanted it to be there. It may never be a single, but you know what? It's real important to you, either because it's going to be a good song in concert or because it means a lot to you personally.
Which I would think that's a song called "Wait for It." For me, it's a song. I didn't write it, but it was pitched to me, and it's a song just about being patient and working hard and realizing that sometimes things that you want take a lot of work, and you got to be patient and enjoy the small victories in life. For me, it was like enjoying the victories of getting a record deal, playing a show. At the time when I first started, my song might have been number 50 on the charts, and everybody wants to go to number 1, but I still had people that took the time to know my music when it was number 50. So enjoying those small victories while in search of the bigger ones.
In general, are you a patient man?
Oh, for sure. My mom said I got the patience of Job.
Really?
Yeah, because she was like, "Hey, not a lot of people would move to Nashville with no money and live in their car and not eat, and you get told no so many times over 10 years and stay here and keep working at it."
Yeah. I was digging up, last time we talked about someone else who might be famous from Delaware, and you mentioned Chuck Wicks. I found 3 more. They're all actors.
Yep. Ryan Felipe is one of them. That's a female. What's her name?
Elizabeth Shue.
Mm-hmm. Who else?
And Valerie Bertinelli.
Yes. Oh, Ziggy Marley's from Delaware, too.
Oh, really?
He's from Wilmington, Delaware. Yeah.
Okay. Any great athletes that you know of that are from Delaware?
Delano DeShields.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the man. His son actually plays now in the league, too, Delano DeShields Jr. They both played professional baseball.
I heard that you are a big basketball fan.
I love basketball.
Did you play a lot, in the lots, in the schoolyards and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I did that, and I played in high school, and I played basketball, soccer, lacrosse, did musical theater, was in ROTC, was in the band. It was Good times.
Did you score a lot of points per game when you were on the high school team?
Yeah, it was all right. I did okay. You know, it was kind of like when I got to high school. Middle school, I was just like killing it. I was a man among boys in middle school. I was averaging like 20-something points a game, and I really loved it. But kind of when I got to high school, I was still good, but my love for music really started taking over.
Taking your
I
time.
was skipping basketball practice to go to rehearsal for the musical that we were doing at the play. Like, I even quit the basketball team my senior year.
No kidding.
Because it was conflicting with my schedule for the musical we were doing, Footloose. Yeah, so I said, I'm done.
Wow. What about hobbies? I mean, is there things that you enjoy doing now?
I love television, by the way. I love TV.
Do
Movies.
you binge on shows and stuff?
Yes, I binge on shows. I love TV. I love going to Disney World. Me and my son enjoy that. We camp, go fishing. I love going to the gym. I love working out. It's fun. I love movies. Did I mention that already?
I get the sense that you're basically a country boy.
Yeah, man, pretty much.
Yeah,
it's good times, man.
Yeah, you got to build when you get real rich and everything. You're going to build yourself a serious man cave.
Gotta have the man cave. The man cave is a necessity.
Well, you got yourself a hit single. Life is good for Jimmie Allen, and I want to wish you nothing but success moving forward, and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good seeing you.
You know, Jimmie's story is truly, truly feel-good material. I think he's going to be around for a long time. What do you think, kid?
I agree.
Yeah.
I think he's the real deal.
Okay, Brittany, now it's your turn to tell us everything and anything that's worthy to be called country news.
Well, the news that I'm most excited about is that Lady Antebellum announced that they're doing a residency in Las Vegas. They're going to be doing 15 shows at the Palms Pearl Concert Theater, which, by the way, is an amazing venue if you haven't been there. Lady A will be the perfect show to check out if you haven't been. They're doing a show called Our Kind of Vegas. It's going to run in February, May, and August of next year. And who knows, maybe even more dates will get added.
Seems to be there's more and more of these residencies taking place, okay? In Las Vegas, it's a natural. And then, of course, here in town, Little Big Town's been doing a residency over at the Ryman for quite some time. You think this is going to be part of a trend moving forward?
I do. You know, Vegas has been attracting bigger and bigger names. And from an artist perspective, it's a lot easier to wake up in the same city every day and play a show at the same venue every night than it is to tour. So the more that artists are having kids, like I think Lady A has half a dozen or so kids between the three members. Think about how much easier it is to just have your family with you in one city rather than take them out all over the country with you. So yeah, I do think that more artists are going to be doing residencies.
It's a good point. Listen, we're getting pretty close to CMA Awards time.
We are. It's hard to believe that it's already almost November. I feel like it snuck up on us. But yeah, the CMAs are going to be here before you know it. They'll be airing live on ABC on November 14th at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. Of course, Brad and Carrie are coming back for the 11th year in a row to host, but a new batch of performers were just announced. Who are you most excited to see perform this year, Bob?
Well, I'd like to see the Florida Georgia Line and BB Rexa. I've never seen them in concert together, and she's pretty dynamic, so it should be a pretty cool performance.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a lot of fun. Dierks Bentley is going to be playing with Brothers O, Casey Musgraves, the Pistol Annies, Thomas Rhett. They were all just announced. And then, of course, CMA had already told us about Kelsey Ballerini, Luke Bryan, Kenny Chesney, Dan and Shay, Old Dominion, Carrie Underwood, and Keith Urban. So it's going to be a stacked night.
You know, I've been thinking about that. And normally for the CMAs, they like to surprise people by having some, big pop star come on, like Justin Timberlake did with Chris Stapleton a couple of years ago or 3 years ago. I wonder what they have, right now being planned, and nobody knows.
I have no insider information at all, but I hope that either Sia or Jennifer Aniston are going to perform with Dolly, because the Dumplin' soundtrack is coming soon.
Ooh, forgot about that. That's a good point.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, I'll bet. Let's mark that down right now as a possibility.
I hope it happens. I mean, I have no idea, but who do we need to put in a call to?
I don't know. I'll find out.
All right, one last thing on the CMAs. I just want to make sure that I wish a very happy birthday to the co-hostess with the mostest, Mr. Brad Paisley. He's going to turn 46 on October 28th.
And I think his hat is going to be 44 on the same date. Just okay. Something about being a great show. What else?
So Jay DeMarcus, 1/3 of Rascal Flatts, he announced this week that he's adding to his already impressive resume by launching a record label. He is launching a Christian label called Red Street Records, and he's already signed his first 2 acts, Avalon and Lauren James.
Cool. I hope it doesn't mean, though, he's taking time away from Rascal Flatts.
Nope, not at all. He's still going to be busy as ever. And he says that Gary and Joe Don are both super supportive of this because it's a dream he's had for a long time.
Well, good for him. How about chart news, my dear?
This week, Luke Combs became the first solo artist ever to top the country airplay chart with his very first 4 singles. That's a pretty big deal because the chart's been around for almost 30 years. Now, there have been 2 other artists in history who took their first 4 singles to the top. Can you name them, Bob?
I would think... recently, anyway, Florida Georgia Line would be in that list.
Yep, FGL. And you got to go back a little bit further for the other one. Any guesses?
No, Garth, maybe? No?
No, it was actually Brooks and Dunn. They did it in 1991 and 1992.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. And, Luke's hit number 1 now. Those 4 tracks are Hurricane, When It Rains, It Pours, One Number Away, and now his latest, She Got the Best of Me. So huge congrats to Luke. This is really an amazing accomplishment.
That's probably, he's probably has a new album coming because he's pretty deep into that current album. So I've not heard, maybe you have, that is he in the studio? Is he ready to put something out?
I haven't heard either, but I gotta believe something's coming soon because She Got the Best of Me was actually one of the deluxe tracks that they added. So let's cross our fingers.
Some stations are playing a track called Houston, We've Got a Problem, but I'm not quite sure if that's just a station that's interested in a song off the album or if it's the real deal. But we'll probably find out soon because this current singles has peaked, as they say in the industry.
If I were a betting woman, I would put my money on new Luke music in 2019.
Okay. What else is at number 1 this week?
Well, your buddy Eric Church, still reigning on the country albums chart. Desperate Man, up there again this week. Best-selling album in the country.
Good deal. One last thing?
Well, last but not least, we talked about it a little bit earlier, that the Country Music Hall of Fame inducted its 3 newest members. You mentioned that Dottie West and musician Johnny Gimbel got in. And in the modern era artist category, Ricky Skaggs.
Yeah, I am proud to call Ricky a friend. I was there in the early 80s when country music had taken a pronounced shift to being more pop. Does this sound familiar?
I was going to say, what did people think about it back then?
Yeah. Well, then this young man from Kentucky came along with a bluegrass background and a definitive twang in his music, and he got us back on track.
You got your heart broke, go running from the prison, get your heart broke.
Of all your hits from the 80s, which is the one that means the most to you?
Heartbroke was a big one. That song really, I had 2 number 1s before that. I had I Don't Care and Crying My Heart Out Over You. Heartbroke just broke open. It had a sound. It had something fresh. It wasn't just old, going back and doing Webb Pierce songs again or doing Flat and Scruggs songs. It was a new sound for the time. But yet it was from a young artist. It was someone that loved tradition, paid honor to tradition, but was taking something new, to the future. And so I think that was almost putting a stake in the ground. I'm claiming my place here in Nashville. I'm not, there's lots of room, but I'm putting stakes down here. And that song, of course, Honey Open That Door. Every kid that was alive in the, in our early 80s, 83, 82, 83, was singing, Honey Open That Door. We'd call them up front, at our concerts and put some microphones down there and let them sing. And, oh, God, it was the funniest thing.
I saw you the other day. I was playing the song on my iPod, so I said, I'm going to see if I can find an iTunes video of that song. And I found it, and you got that funky mustache.
Oh, Lord.
You remember that?
Help us.
And you're pounding on the door.
Yeah.
It was a great video, but I'm looking at Ricky Skaggs, and I think you've got the mullet, and you've got the mustache on. You look kind of ghetto, quite frankly.
I was definitely a boy from the hood.
I'm so glad they finally put Ricky in the Hall of Fame. He was a game changer. Okay, listen, before we say goodbye to everybody, I have a question for you regarding Instagram. Because
Okay.
I'm having a ball with this thing. Okay, I even posted my first picture up there. Did you happen to see that? Of an
I
artist?
saw it. It was UNTR, right?
Yeah, Thomas Rhett. And anyway, somebody mentioned something to me about doing DMs. Okay, and I thought is
Doing DMs.
Yeah, I thought is this something nasty? What can we talk about it? What's a DM?
DM is short for direct message. It's when you send somebody a message on Instagram.
Okay, but what makes that any different than any other message?
Well, because it's direct to them. So it's like when you send somebody a text versus putting something out where everybody can see it. So on Instagram how you can comment?
Mm-hmm.
A DM is like a comment that you send just to one other person.
Well, there are people I think I've heard that gotten in trouble doing DMs.
Yeah, if you're not careful, something that you only intended one other person to see, I guess you could accidentally broadcast.
DM me. Follow me at Bob Guerra Nashville. That's Guerra. And while you're at it, you can find us at This Week in Country. We want to hear what you think about the show and your suggestions for next week's Six Picks.
And remember to check out our playlist, This Week in Country Music. It's up on all your favorite streaming sites. And if you can't find it, just send a DM to Bob and he'll give you a link.
Okay. All right. But be careful what you DM me, okay? That does it for this week's episode. I'm Bob Guerra.
And I'm Brittany Hodak. Thanks for listening to This Week in Country Music.